الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. We'll start tonight, continue with the tafsir of the short surahs from important lessons for every Muslim. Sheikh bin Baz rahimahullah, with the explanation of Sheikh Abdul-Razak al-Badr. And this is almost the end of the book, or it's almost the end of this section, the tafsir section. This is surah number 105. We know there's only 114 surahs in the Quran. So it's not that much left in this chapter, in this section. So again, the tafsir of these surahs is not detailed tafsir. Tafsir is not detailed at all. It's shorter than most books of tafsir because it's only a section. But and that's why, and the book is made for that purpose in all of the sections, not just this section. But as he said in the beginning of the book, Sheikh Abdul-Razak, in the beginning of this section, he said about these surahs, which equal to be 16. He only explained 16 surahs in this section, not even the whole Juz Amma, not even the whole last 30th. He only did 16 surahs. But he said about these 16 surahs, وَأَنَّ هَذَا الْقَدَرْ كَافٍ لِلْعَوَامِ لِيُؤَدُّوا بِهَا صَلَاتَهُمْ فَرْضَهَا وَنَفْلَهَا بِمَا فِي ذَلِكَ قِيَامَ اللَّيْلِ. That even though it's only 16 surahs, this is enough for the general Muslim. This is enough. These surahs are enough for the general Muslim to be able to complete their obligatory prayers and to complete the voluntary prayers. Also including tahajjud, standing at night in the middle of the night, that voluntary prayer also. 16 surahs. And he said this is a way to encourage, not that it's enough that we shouldn't strive or we shouldn't try to be people who memorize the Quran in totality. But he said this in itself is a tariqah, هذه المنهجية في التعليم تشجع كثيرا من العوام على التعلم والحفظ. It's a way to encourage the general Muslim, the regular person who's not the imam, he's not a student of knowledge, he's not a sheikh, a regular person, to learn and to memorize. If a person knows that he explained 16 surahs from the Quran, and he said that this is enough to complete all of my obligatory prayers and all of my voluntary prayers, even if I wanted to stand up in the middle of the night, that this is enough. 16 surahs is enough to cover that. He said this is a way to encourage people to want to learn and to want to memorize. So these surahs, even though they're short, and even though the tafsir is short, after this tafsir, I would advise to go to some of the more older tafsir, like Ibn Kathir rahimahullah. Ibn Kathir, whose tafsir is well known, well accepted through the Muslim world. And you'll find a lot more detail than he's going to mention in this tafsir. As this tafsir is short, basic, to the point, he hits on the most important subjects or topics of each surah. So we've reached Surah Al-Fil, the elephant. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِأَصْحَابِ الْفِيلِ أَلَمْ يَجْعَلْ كَيْدَهُمْ فِي تَضْلِيلٍ وَأَرْسَلَ عَلَيْهِمْ طَيْرًا أَبَابِيلَ تَرْمِيهِمْ بِحِجَارَةٍ مِّن سِجِّيلٍ فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ. The elephant, the surah that is known as the elephant. And It's known from the Syid of the Prophet ﷺ that the Prophet ﷺ was born the year that this event took place. The year that this story happened is the year that the Prophet ﷺ was born. So he starts off where Allah says, أَلَمْ تَرَ كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِأَصْحَابِ الْفِيلِ. Don't you see what Allah did to Ashab al-Fil, the people of the elephant, those people who were coming to attack the Kaaba. And this surah specifically shows the Qudra. It shows the ability that Allah has to destroy anything or anyone, to destroy the people. And there are many different stories in the Quran that show this. And it's important because right now, what's going on with the hurricanes, right? Right now with the hurricanes, people refer to them as natural disasters. Natural, right? They don't even want to attach it that the Creator can cause destruction if He chooses to. And Allah mentions in the Quran, floods happening. Allah mentions in Surah Hud the flood of Noah alayhi salam. When he told his son to get on, he didn't get on. Allah mentions winds, strong winds destroying places. But if the Muslim is not reflected in reading the Quran, and if the Muslim is constantly listening to what's being told through the news, they forget that the reality is that Allah is able to destroy a whole people. He can destroy a whole city. That already happened before. And it happened before. We see these things. An earthquake, right? A flood. The flood destroyed, that was Louisiana, right? A couple years ago, right? New Orleans. The whole city finished. And then we blame it, well, not we, but it's blamed on natural disasters and this and that. But this surah here shows the qudra, the might and the strength of Allah Jalla wa Ala. So he says to the Prophet ﷺ, don't you know, ayyuhan nabi, kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi abraha wa junudihi. Don't you know what Allah did to Abraha? Abraha was the commander's name of the group that came on the elephant. When they came with the elephants and they were coming towards Mecca to destroy the Kaaba, the commander-in-chief, his name was Abraha. It says, وَمَعَهُمْ Al-Fil حِينَمَا أَتُوا قَاصِدِينَ تَخْرِيبَ الْكَعْبَةِ. And they had elephants with them. As an elephant was considered the strongest animal. Or they say unstoppable, right? And they were headed towards the Kaaba in order to destroy the Kaaba. And the Quraish, Kuffar Quraish at the time, they didn't have the ability. They weren't strong enough to defend the Kaaba. In more detail of this story is found in Tafsir, and is found in the Surah, the biography of the Prophet ﷺ. That when they were coming to destroy the Kaaba, that the Quraysh basically stepped to the side, as they knew they couldn't withstand the army that was coming. So they stepped to the side and let them go. They said, you're just going to let us go by you like that and destroy the Kaaba? They said, that's the house of Allah. He'll defend it. Even though he doesn't mention it here, a lot of this is found in the Surah of the Prophet ﷺ, in the deeper tafsir, the more detailed tafsirs. So Abraha and his army, they were coming to destroy the Kaaba with the elephants that they had. أَلَمْ يَجْعَلْ كَيْدَهُمْ فِي تَضْلِيلٍ. So Allah says now, their plot and their plan to destroy the Kaaba, their ultimate plan was to come and destroy the Kaaba. The people there, the people of Ahl Mecca, the Quraysh at the time, they were weak and they were unable to defend it. And they knew that. And this is important for the next surah coming after it. They were not able to stop this army, and they knew they couldn't stop the army. They weren't able to stop the army from coming to destroy the Kaaba, That's why some narrations say they just stepped aside and they let them go in. Tayyib, Allah says, don't you see how we destroyed their plot or their plan? That they came with the field, they came with this elephant, this animal that was considered to be the most strongest, unstoppable, right? And Allah destroyed their plan. Now Allah describes how He destroyed the plan. وَأَرْسَلَ عَلَيْهِمْ طَيْرًا أَبَابِيلَ. He said, we sent طَيْرًا, birds, أَبَابِيلَ, جَمَاعَةٌ مِنَ الطَّيْرِ مُتَتَابِعَةٌ, groups and groups of birds. Groups and groups of birds. To show you how Allah can destroy a group of people. Birds, جَاءُوا, and He explains it, جَاءُوا بِالْفِيلَةِ, that they came with elephants. وَهِيَ أَخْضَمُ الْحَيَوَانَاتِ وَأَكْبَرُهَا بِزَعْمِهِمْ. They came with the strongest animal possible to find in order to destroy the Kaaba. Right? There's nothing stronger than the animal. According to them, there's nothing stronger than the elephant at this point. Nothing is going to stop the elephant from going through. And this is why Quraish stepped to the side and let him go, as they knew they weren't able to stop him. فَأَرْسَلَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ طَيْرًا صَغِيرًا تحمل حجارة صغيرة في مناقيرها. So Allah sent small birds. Shows the qudra. That shows Allah has the ability to do anything He chooses to do. Small birds carrying small rocks. And this is how the greatest animal at the time, the strongest animal that they considered that they were coming to destroy the house of Allah, Bayt Allah, Al-Kaaba, He destroyed them using small birds with small pebbles. Allah said, وَأَرْسَلَ عَلَيْهِمْ طَيْرًا أَبَابِيلَ. Groups and groups of birds coming, and they were holding these rocks, small rocks, in their mouths. And then some of the tafasir, as it doesn't mention it here, it said each bird had three rocks. Each bird had 3 rocks. Is it possible for a bird to carry 3 rocks? No. How does a bird carry 3 rocks? There you go. 1 in the mouth and 1 in each hand, or whatever, foot. Tayyib, claw. Tayyib. He doesn't mention it here, but it mentions the details of the story. If you go back and read the details, a lot more detail than he mentioned it. This is for the general glaze benefit of the surah. So they said that they were carrying 1 in their mouth and holding 2 other rocks. ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل. حجارة من الطين الصلب من المكان العالي. That they were carrying these rocks, and they described that فما يقع حجر منها على واحد من هؤلاء إلا هلك الشر هلك. That the rock, no rock hit a person, except if the person was touched by the rock, they were destroyed in totality. Whoever got hit by the rock, they were killed. In the other tafsir, it says not everybody, not every person that was there died. Not every single person got hit, but those who were hit were destroyed. So the picture is these weak people, the Quraish, they were weak. They can't withstand this army coming with the greatest animal at the time. This is their land. This is where they would go, even though they were committing shirk. They were putting partners with Allah, but they would still go down to the Kaaba and do their worship there. So it was a sacred place. They would go down there, do their worship, recite poetry, and everything else they were doing there. Tayyib. People come to destroy their house. They're not strong enough to defend it. So they step to the side and tell them, basically the owner of the house, whoever's house, he's going to defend it. They come with elephants, they go to defend it. Anybody who goes close is destroyed by a small rock dropping from the sky. This is the picture. Then Allah describes the end result. فَجَعَلَهُمْ, those people that came to destroy the Kaaba, الْجُمُوعِ الَّتِي جَاءَتْ لِهَدْمِ بَيْتِ اللَّهِ, He described them as كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ الزرع الذي هجمت عليه الماشية وأكلته وطأته بأقدامها. That those people were left looking like a farm. That picture that's left when the animals graze on the farm and how they tear up the grass and everything is destroyed. This is how the people were left who attempted to attack the Kaaba. So Allah described them as كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ. It says هذه من آيات الله سبحانه وتعالى عظيم قدرته. It shows the ability that Allah has the ability to destroy a people. He has the ability to destroy people. وَأَنَّ الْعَبْدَ مَهْمَا بَلَغَ مَكْرُهُ وَكَيْدُهُ وَتَرَبُّصُهُ يَجْعَلَهُ اللَّهُ سبحانه وتعالى له العاقبة الوخيمة والخسران في الدنيا والآخرة. No matter what a person can plan and they can plan, and we always say Allah is the best of planners, but Allah Jalla wa Ala has the ability to overturn their plan and to leave them destroyed. And this should remind us of the ability of our Lord, and that we have to return back to Allah Jalla wa Ala in our dua. That when we're oppressed, that we have to return back to Allah, and that we don't react off emotions, that we return back to Allah Jalla wa Ala, and we make dua and ask Allah to give us ease. As we see what's going on now, a whole city underwater, destroyed. A whole city destroyed within a matter of hours, and it's still going. Now another one and another one, and Allah Alam. But Allah can destroy a whole people. He can replace them. He can wipe out a whole people and replace them with people better. So this is the end of the tafsir of Surah Al-Fil, and he says at the end, which we already mentioned, that this is the year that the Prophet ﷺ was born. And this is one of the ways that the history was recorded. A lot of the history was recorded based on major events, like we do now. Even if we look back now, we say the ice storm in '94, right? Or '96, maybe it was one in '94 and '96, right? The storm of '96, the flood of this year, the flood of that year. Sometimes we remember stuff. How you remember stuff? That was the year of the flood, or that was the year we had that ice storm, and the school shut down for about 3 weeks or a month, right? The years are based on, or the events, or the tariq, the history is attached to the year based on a specific event, a lot of times. And this is one of the events. Al-Fil, the year of the elephant, the year the event happened with the elephant. And this is the year that the Prophet ﷺ was born. Now, in this surah, it mentions, well not here, but that the Quraish were weak, right? They weren't able to defend the Kaaba. So when they came to destroy the Kaaba, they basically had to let them go. They had to let Abraha and the army go through with the elephants to destroy them. They didn't have any, there was nothing they could do. The next surah, Quraish. It says in the beginning that many of the ulama of tafsir, they consider Quraish, this surah, to be attached to the surah before it. They go together. لإيلاف قريش بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. They say that this surah is attached to the surah before it. Why is that? Because in the Surah Al-Fil, the Surah Elephant, Allah tells us basically His ability to destroy people. After this, and in that story, we see that the Quraysh were weak. They weren't able to defend the house. So the description in this surah, they say, is attached based on the story. So it says, firstly, it says now, after this happened, فَأَصْبَحَ لِقُرَيْشْ بَعْدَ هَذِهِ الْحَادِثَةِ هَيْبَةً. After this happened, the Quraysh, they gained a reputation. Now they had a reputation with the people. Quraysh gained a reputation based on Allah destroying the people who came to destroy the Kaaba. How did they gain a reputation? How do they gain a reputation if they basically step to the side and let the people come in and destroy? Is that something praiseworthy? Somebody's coming to destroy your house, you basically step to the side and say, fuck them, you got it. Nothing to do anyway. Right? That's not something that's a praiseworthy thing. You would think that the person whose house it is, if this is where y'all come to worship, this is what y'all do, y'all gonna stand up and protect it. Right? They stepped to the side and basically said, go ahead, because they knew they couldn't. They knew they weren't strong enough. But he says, after the event happened, the Quraysh gained basically more respect. They were respected more now. Anybody know why?
Because of the Lord.
Huh?
Because of Allah.
Because Allah.
Allah protected the Kaaba and destroyed the army. So people don't know what happened. They just know that it was destroyed, basically.
Right. So they gained the haiba, they gained their respect, not because they did, because the people looking like, if they're weak and they can step to the side and the whole people can be destroyed, they must be, something's with them. You know what I'm saying? Something, they have something. Therefore, the next surah describes the result of the event of the Fil. This surah is going to describe what benefits did the Quraysh get from the people of the elephant being destroyed. You with me?
That's not why they started coming down. Like the different people started coming down to visit the Kaaba.
Is it why the people started coming to visit the Kaaba after that?
Yeah.
They were already there visiting the Kaaba. These people weren't from, as it says in one of the tafsir, that they came from Yemen. It says they came from Yemen. But they weren't from Mecca. There were already people going down to the Kaaba. They would always go to the Kaaba. The Quraysh, they would go, the Kuffar Quraysh, they would make Hajj. Before, they would still make Hajj, and they would do their worship and worship their statues there. They were already going there. So when people came to destroy it, the idea is that you're going to defend your place. They don't defend it, they step to the side, let them go. And when they let them go, all of the people are destroyed. So everybody turns and looks, if they're weak like that, and they can move to the side, and small birds come and drop these small pebbles every time it hits somebody destroyed, leave them alone. Right? Basically. That's in a nutshell. Leave them alone. Therefore, the next surah describes the benefit that the Quraysh got from the story of the elephant. Tayyib. Therefore, some of the ulama, as he says, كثير من المفسرين, many of the scholars of tafsir, they consider this surah to be a continuation of the surah before it. So Quraysh is a continuation of Surah Al-Fil. Tayyib. So Allah says, إِلَافِ Quraysh, the favor that we gave Quraysh, إِلَافِهِمْ رِحْلَةَ الشِّتَاءِ وَالصَّيْفِ. That now, when the Quraysh, who were those weak people, that when the people came to destroy the Kaaba, they weren't able to defend it. Now, they would go to Yemen to do business. They pack up all their goods and they go into do business in Yemen. In the summertime, they will go to Syria, that area, to do business. Tayyib. Based on the situation with the elephant, people gained a respect for them that they were able to travel through those lands without being attacked. They call them usually highway robbers. People cutting off the roads. You're coming down, they know you're coming to sell something. So what they do, they cut the road off and rob you for your caravan. Right? Take everything that you're going to sell. He says, وَهَذَا نِعَمٌ تَسْتَوْجِبُ شُكْرَ الْمُنْعِمِ وَإِخْلَاصِ الدِّينِ لَهُ. And this itself is a ni'mah. This was a blessing, a ni'mah, that it necessitates and it mandates that the people who receive that blessing, that now they're able to travel. They're able to go on their business ventures peacefully. They don't have to worry about anybody stopping them in the road, trying to take their goods, trying to take their stuff off the caravan that they're going to sell. They can go and come as they please safely. And this is a ni'mah. Safety is a ni'mah. Safety itself is a ni'mah, that you live in an area where you don't have to worry about violence. You don't have to worry about being insecure. The fact that you can live in a place that's secure, it brings a lightness and relaxation to the heart. That a person can live in a safe environment. So the fact that they were able to travel back and forth safely and nobody's going to attack them, this is a ni'mah in itself. And if this is a ni'mah, for every ni'mah, the person that is blessed with a ni'mah, what is upon the person that is blessed with a ni'mah, to thank Allah Jalla wa'ala. To thank Allah. When Allah gives us something, a blessing, is upon us to turn to Allah and thank Allah Jalla wa'ala. So he says, it mandates that a person thanks Allah. So Allah said after that, after explaining the favor on the Quraish, how now they can travel safely back and forth to do their business, Allah said, فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. So Allah after this, as Ibn Kathir said, rahimahullah, he said, ثُمَّ أَرْشَدَهُمْ إِلَى الشُّكْرِ هَذِهِ النِّعْمَةِ الْعَظِيمَةِ. How do they show their thanks? How do they show that they're thankful that Allah made the path for their business travels to be safe? That they do what? Ibadah, that they worship Allah. فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. That they worship Allah. That they sincerely worship Allah. That they make their worship only for Allah. Only for Allah Jalla wa'ala, without any shirk. Without any shirk. مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. Making the deen totally for Allah. Sincere in their worship, not doing any acts of shirk. And this is from the ways that a person shows their thanks. That a person doesn't just say, as we see people saying, Shukran Allah, huh? Right? That a person, they praise Allah with the tongue, Alhamdulillah, for the ni'mah. But thanks is also shown with action. Thanks is also shown with actions. So a person does what? That they worship Allah sincerely without any partners. فَلَا يَجْعَلُوا مَعَهُ شَرِيكًا. That they don't put any partners with Allah in their worship. That they perform their worship strictly, sincerely seeking Allah's reward. And this is what Allah told them to do after recognizing the blessing, after recognizing the ni'mah, that now they have respect. Respect has been instilled in the people. The Quraish now, they hold their name holds weight now. That now they can travel back and forth. The Kaaba was protected. Now they can travel back and forth to do their business. Now it's upon you to be thankful to Allah Jalla wa'ala. How do you show your thanks? Allah said, فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. So Allah told them to show your thanks. يَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. Worship the Lord of this house. Worship Allah, the Lord of the Kaaba. Then Allah describes Himself, الَّذِي أَطْعَمَهُم مِّن جُوعٍ وَآمَنَهُم مِّن خَوْفٍ. Allah says, the Lord of the Kaaba, speaking about Himself, who is the one who kept you from starving. الَّذِي مَنْ عَلَيْهِ بِالطَّعَامِ. He gave you the blessing of food, nourishment, to keep the body nourished, which is a ni'mah in itself. Food is a ni'mah. Food is a ni'mah in itself. To be able to have the option of what you're going to eat every night is a ni'mah. Sometimes the stuff is so disposable at our hands that we don't think about it. But in Mecca, a lot of times you see, if you make Hajj or Umrah, you'll see everybody doesn't have that ability. Everybody don't have that choice. And I used to wonder when I first got there, you'll see on the trash can, on the edge of the dumpster, you see a bag hanging. And inside the bag is a bunch of torn up bread. Right? It's a bunch of torn up bread in a plastic bag hanging on the edge of the dumpster. The edge of a dumpster. Right? So I used to think, why is this, who keep putting bread on a dumpster like this? Until you see the poor people come by and take that bread, because it's not trash. Huh? They don't have the option of going here or going there, food. They eating what is there to eat. So people in their houses, a lot of them, they don't throw the bread in the trash, right? You get them big circles of bread. The trash can, it's a dumpster. There's cats in there, it's a dumpster, right? But the people who don't have that option show that food is a ni'mah. The people who don't have that option, they come by and they're looking because it's ID, it's normal. Everybody knows this in Mecca. Everybody knows that if you have extra food that you're not going to eat, hang it on the edge of the dumpster so that the miskin, the poor people, can come and they'll take it and they'll eat it. So everybody knows what it's sitting there for, right? Everybody knows. And that's like a standard. Everybody knows that. That's not like a secret. It's not like you got to know. That's normal. Or some of the students from different countries, the money doesn't last all year. All month, I'm sorry. The stipend doesn't last for the month. It's not a lot. You got to eat every day. Huh? You got books to buy. If you don't have a car, you got to catch a taxi back and forth to school, to the jamia. Right? It's a lot of expenses. Clothes got to be clean because you don't have a washer and dryer, so you got to pay the cleaners to clean your clothes unless you're going to wash them out in the sink. Right? There's no money coming in. It's not like everybody's over there, money is just funneling in. A lot of them from other countries, it was about, the stipend was like $200 a month. A lot of them are sending part of that back to their country. So they don't even have the whole 200. Right? So therefore, they don't have the choice of what am I going to eat tonight. What they eat is within the jamia, the university cafeteria, period, whatever it is. Sometimes it's the same thing every day. Beans, rice, bread, a little water, maybe a little milk. If you catch a good day, some fish. All right? The brothers call around, it's a good day. Yo, they got fish down there. Allahumma musta'an. Food is a ni'mah. It's a ni'mah. Allahumma musta'an. Chicken every day, chicken and rice, every day. Not, I'm going to be, or maybe 2. If you're a student, I think later it was like 3, maybe like 3 reals. It's a full course meal, you'd be full off it. But it's like 3 reals if you're a student, a foreign student. But it's no option like going there, what's there is there. It might be the same 2 things all week. That's what you're going, Alhamdulillah. So Allah says, الَّذِي أَطْعَمَهُم مِّن جُوعٍ. The ni'mah of food. So he mentioned, in the last ayah, he mentioned 2 blessings. The first blessing, the blessing of food. That he gave them food and protected them from starvation. وَآمَنَهُم مِّن خَوْفٍ. And the second thing that he blessed them with was security, safety and security. Safety and security. And both of these ni'mas, both of these blessings, as he says, مُوجِبٌ لِشُكْرٍ مُنْعِمٍ. They necessitate that a person is blessed with these things. It necessitates that a person is thankful to the one who blessed them with it. And how is a person thankful? Ikhlas, that they're sincere in their worship and that they don't put any partners with Allah in their worship. And this is a ni'mah in itself, and this shows, and this for us just to remind ourselves that we have to be thankful for the many blessings that we have, that we can. As Allah said, if you were to try to count them, if you try to count all of the blessings that Allah gives us, that you wouldn't be able to count them, as Allah said in Surah Ibrahim. And that if you never really step outside the box, you don't really notice the ni'mah that you're living in. You don't notice the ni'mah that you're living in. And this is just food and safety. As there was a brother from, I forgot, in Russia, I forget the spot in Russia, that they didn't didn't have that safety. He can't come home and walk around with a kufi and a thobe and a beard. And when he was getting ready to graduate, I asked, was he going back to his, so you going back when you going back? He looked at me like, going back? I can't go back. Can't go back. I don't want to go back. A lot of Americans don't want to go back. I can't go back. And I knew this brother the whole time I was there. So why can't you go back? They said, over there we are like, if you're a beard, they consider you extreme. You're extreme. I'm talking about extreme. You're dangerous. You're a threat. They might have to kill you. These are people you sit by every day. Go to classes with Al-Thamaraat and all that every day. And when you really, really start getting into what's going on in your country, it's another level. It's another level. Almost like the stuff that's going on in Burma. And this is not the first time it happened. This thing that's going on now in Burma when they're killing all the Muslims is not the first time it happened. So Allah will relieve them from that fitna. I mean, it's not the first time it happened. It happened a couple years ago because a lot of the imams in Mecca are from Burma. And a lot of them don't have iqama. A lot of them don't have legal residency. They had to flee. They had to leave the country because they will kill you. Literally. They will kill you. If you're Muslim, they kill you. So a lot of them had to leave the country. And they just basically, we say, took a Brody. They don't have proper ID. A lot of them, the kids don't have proper ID. The government knows that what's going on in their country. They let them stay. But it came down one time where they said that everybody, and that's how it is in Saudi, one day is one day, the next day is everybody who doesn't have proper documentation. If your papers are not right, you gotta go. If we catch you, we sending you back to your country, period. So it was a big thing because everybody knew in Burma, and this was 3 years ago. This is happening again right now, just like in Syria. It happened a couple of years and it came back, and it came to the forefront again. A lot of the imams of the Saajid were from Burma. A lot of the imams that lead the salat every day in the masjid, they're not Saudis. A lot of them are from Burma.
Where Burma is located?
Burma is near, if I'm not mistaken, near they're not Bangladesh, they're Bangladeshi people or Indian people, somewhere like that. I'm not, from my ignorance, I'm not sure.
It's close to Bangladesh.
Close to Bangladesh? Alhamdulillah. But a lot of them, the imams, they're not Saudis. A lot of them from Burma. So it was a big thing. It was real big. Because now that means a lot of the imams of the masajid have to go back. Now the thing is, the question was, you're going to send, the Muslim country is going to send Muslim people back to a country where they're being tortured? Y'all going to really put these people out? That was the thing. That was the thing. You're going to put these people out and send them back? So the king allowed them to stay, just like he just did again, gave them residency and stuff like that and let them stay. Because they can't go back. They don't have the safety, They don't have the safety that we have like this, even though we live in a dangerous environment. The environment is dangerous, but it's some level of safety to be able to be a Muslim. To be able to be a Muslim. He told me that they will, it's like almost like TV stuff. Guns, and it's real. So he says, anybody who has these two blessings, whether it's the blessing of food or the blessing of safety, it's a ni'mah that a person should thank Allah Jalla wa Ala for. And it shows that the stuff that people do as far as bombings and stuff like that, that's not from Islam, is that destroys the safety and the security of an area. And Islam doesn't promote that in itself. Safety is a ni'mah. Tayyib. The next surah, Al-Ma'un. Al-Ma'un, which is translated as the small kindness. The small kindness. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. The translated as the small kindness, surah number 107, where Allah asks the question, أيها النبي, والاستفهام معناه التعجب. It's a question. Haven't you seen the people, these type of people? Haven't you seen the type of people? الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Haven't you seen these people who deny الدين. يُكَذِّبُ بِالْجَزَاءِ وَالْبَعْثِ. They deny the resurrection. Have you seen these type of people who deny that they're going to be resurrected Yawm al-Qiyamah and held accountable? They deny the day where people will be held accountable for their deeds, Yawm al-Qiyamah. They deny the day al-Wuquf bayna yaday Allah wa mulaqatihi jalla fi ula. They deny the day that mankind has to stand in front of Allah and be held accountable. Don't you see these type of people? They may know it's better. They may know it's better. Islam is the better thing, and they still deny it. Haven't you seen this type of person? And then Allah describes him further. He says, فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمِ وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. This type of person is the one who leaves off the orphan. They give no attention to the orphan. They don't give any attention to the orphan. وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. And they don't encourage anybody else to feed the poor. Selfish. They don't give any attention to the orphan. Do we know what an orphan is? Everybody know what an orphan is? Huh? What's an orphan?
Somebody with no parents.
Syid. A person with no father. Tayyib. So what about a mother? If they have a mother, they're still an orphan. If they don't have a mother and they have a father, they're not an orphan. Islamically, the orphan is the young, the youth, the young one who hasn't reached puberty yet. Huh? And they don't have a father specifically. Meaning they have a mother. Now, how many people do we know like this? Islamically, the orphan is connected to the father, showing the importance of fathers, the importance of structured homes, the importance of structured homes, the importance of fathers being there for their children. The orphan is connected Islamically. We're not talking about the English term. It's translated to be an orphan. Islamically, an orphan is connected to the father, meaning the mother could be present their whole life. If the father dies, for example, a 2-year-old baby, a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, those young kids, when they die, when the father dies, they're considered orphans, even though the mother is there, Islamically. And many of the ulama of the past, they were orphans. And they turned out to be imams of Islam, imams of the Sunnah, and they were orphans. They said Imam Malik's mother used to dress him up. If I'm not mistaken, Imam Malik, rahimahullah, was an orphan. That his mother would dress him up. She would dress him up, put him on nice clothes that the ulama, the scholars would wear. During his time, she would put the clothing of the scholars on him. The way that the scholars dressed in his time is the way his mother would dress him. And she would tell him to go sit with them. Imam Malik, rahimahullah. Showing the importance of now the mother, the righteous mother. The father wasn't there, but his mother was there, and she was righteous. So she would dress him up and say, look how Imam Malik turned out. Imam al-Sunnah, one of the imams of the Sunnah. So Allah described these people. He said that they don't give any attention to the orphan. And this is from, he says, من ثمرات هذا التكذيب أن يكون الإنسان بهذه الصفة وهذا الحال. From their denying of the day of judgment and their denying that they're going to be resurrected, the treatment of the orphan is like this. They don't give any, they're not concerned with the orphan. They're not concerned with people being fed, people being hungry. They don't concern themselves with the orphan, and they don't encourage anybody else to be concerned with them. That's how Allah describes them. الَّذِي يَدُعُّ الْيَتِيمِ. They leave off the orphans. وَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. And they don't encourage anybody else to feed the needy. طيب. He says, فَلَا يَتَعَامَلُوا مَعَهُ بِشَفَقَةٍ وَلَا رَحْمَةٍ. That they don't deal, and this is important for us because we know if we look at it Islamically, there are a lot of orphans. A lot of them. There's a lot of orphans Islamically. He says that they don't deal with the orphans بِشَفَقَةٍ وَلَا رَحْمَةٍ. That they don't deal with the orphans with mercy. They don't have mercy on these children, which they're in need of. They're in need of mercy, which is important to know that the effects of single-parent homes.
And that was a question I was going to ask. Like, the father has to be deceased
Yeah.
in order for the child to be considered an orphan.
Right.
Not if the parents just separated.
No, not if they separated. The father could be there.
Okay.
He could be there every day. They could be separated, but the father could be there in the life of the kids. That's not the issue. The father dies, like many of our brothers are killing each other, being killed, right? And leaving kids. A lot of kids sometimes.
What if he just leaves and not in their life?
No, that's not an orphan. That's a sin on him. An orphan. And it's also that they're young kids also. They haven't reached puberty yet. But even with that, even with those restrictions, there are a lot of orphans in our community. It's a lot. Many, many, many. Islamically, it's a lot of orphans. If we consider it, if we're not looking at it Islamically, we're just saying an orphan, we're thinking about two parents being dead, then we're missing the mark. The mark Islamically is that the father's dead, deceased. Could be sick, he could have died. It could be anything. Like the brother, Rahimahullah. Yeah, man, I forgot his name. Doctor not too long ago? Yeah. Right? They died, 8-year-old, 6-year-old, 4-year-old, orphans. How do we deal with them? Especially if they're boys.
Yeah.
If they're boys, we hard on boys anyway.
And it's the whole thing. He was married. He was married to the sister, but they wasn't his children. But he was raising them and put them in that structure.
Mashallah.
You know what I'm saying? So.
But that don't mean they're orphans, because that's not their father.
Right. Yeah.
Is their father alive?
Yeah, their father's alive.
Right. But still, that's good that he was doing that.
Right.
Tayyib. So they don't have any mercy with the orphan, and they don't encourage other people to feed the needy. Al-Ta'am al-Miskin. Right? And then the asl is, he doesn't pay any attention to him, so of course he doesn't encourage anybody else to do it. That's what he says. لا يطعم ولا ينفق ولا يبذل. He doesn't do it himself, so he doesn't encourage anyone else to do it. فكيف يكون منه حظ لغيره وحث له للقيام. It's not even possible, it's not normal that a person, they don't give any attention to something, but then they encourage everybody else to do it. Sometimes it happens, but ثم قال جل وعلا, then Allah says, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ. And this is the same word from last week, wail, that Allah mentions in the Quran, that comes in the hadith, wail, which is, he mentioned 3 different meanings for wail. Does anybody remember? Wail, destruction, halak. Or he said, or it could be, he said, a valley in the hellfire, right? A valley in the hellfire. As it comes in the other hadith, وَيْلٌ لِلْعَقَابِ مِنَ النَّارِ. Where the Prophet ﷺ said, destruction. Or that same word, wail, for the people who make wudu, right? And they don't complete their wudu. They don't wet their feet all the way. They miss a spot. That the Prophet ﷺ said, wail, destruction for that person. Which could mean, one of the 3 definitions, could be a valley in the hellfire for the person who doesn't perfect their wudu. Or it could be destruction for the person who doesn't perfect their wudu. Wail. So Allah uses the same word here. Wailun lil musallin. He says wailun lil musallin. Let's just say destruction for the people who pray. That's how the ayat stops. The people who pray. Destruction for the people who pray. But Allah describes the people. Everybody who prays is going to be destroyed. That don't even make sense, right? That the people who pray are going to be destroyed, or a valley in the hellfire for the people who pray. So the next ayah clarifies which people will be destroyed. Which people that are praying still have this threat on them. But there's still a threat. The threat is still on them. Allah described them as being people who pray, but the threat still applies to them. Why? He says, Sheikh, فَلَيْسُوا تَارِكِينَ لَهَا. These are not people, this threat is not for people who abandon the salah. This is not a threat for people who don't pray at all. This is a threat for people who do pray. You with me? This threat in this ayat is for people who do pray. This is not a threat for the people who don't pray. There's another threat in the hadith for the people who don't pray. Man taraka salat. For the taraka salat. That's a whole nother issue. For the people who don't pray. For the people who do pray, this ayat, Allah says, فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. Those people who are sahun anha. Allah described as sahun an as-salat بتضييع أوقاتها وعدم الاهتمام بشروطها وأركانها وواجباتها. That these are people who they're neglectful in the prayer. When it comes to the salah, they're neglectful. They're not really there like that. They don't really give importance to the salah. They know the actions and know the movements, but they don't really give importance to what? It says, firstly, بِتَضْيِيعَ أَوْقَاتِهَا. They don't preserve and they don't pay attention to the times of the salah. Keeping the salah and praying the salah in its proper time. That's one way that they're considered sahun. That they're considered neglectful. Neglectful for the salah because the salah has a fixed time. Every salah has a specific time. So do they pray? They pray. But do they pray in the proper time? La. So Allah said, waylun, destruction, a valley in the hellfire, whatever tafsir you want to use, waylun lil musallin, waylun, for the people who don't pray in the proper time. Or they don't fulfill the conditions of the salah. When it comes to fulfilling the conditions, before you pray, they're neglectful. Right? So, from the conditions of the salah, what's the condition of the salah? Wudu. Tayyib, they're negligent with the wudu. Not really, it's wudu. It's not, it's small things, wudu, right? Or maybe they're traveling, finding the qibla. They're traveling, right? They're traveling, going wherever they're traveling to, driving, they pull over to pray. You ask the brother, which way is the qibla? I don't know, man, just pray like this. No ijtihad, no trying, no putting the best effort forth to find the qibla first. Then if they can't find it, they gotta pray, so we gotta pray. But putting forth an effort first to find the qibla, I don't know, let's just pray. Let's come on, hurry up and pray so we can hurry up and get there. They're gonna start at 6, or whatever time they're gonna start. So they give no importance to the conditions. Or in the salah, the arkan, or they don't give any importance to the arkan. Do they go into ruku'? Do they read Al-Fatiha? Yeah, they read Al-Fatiha. Do they read Al-Fatiha correctly? That's another issue. Do they read Al-Fatiha, which is a pillar from the salah? Do they read Al-Fatiha correctly? Person may say they don't know. They don't know Al-Fatiha. Did they take the time to learn Al-Fatiha correctly? Do they have the ability to learn Al-Fatiha correctly? Do they go into ruku'? When they go into ruku', do they go into ruku' according to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, or they just go down, or they moving around, being attentive and trying to give every position is right. He says, or wajibatuha, in the obligatory things in the salah. And it's a difference, because the same word sahun, for farqun bayna sahwi an as-salat wa sahwi fi as-salat. There's a difference between being negligent or this sahwi, that's a general translation, negligent. But this word is sahwi. As we know, if the imam makes a mistake in the salat, sujood is sahwi, the same word. But what makes the difference is the word that comes after it. As-sahwu an is to be negligent about something. As-sahwu fi is to make a mistake. So we're not talking about, the ayat is not referring to the people who make a mistake in the salat. Everybody makes a mistake. Anybody can make a mistake in the salat and forget. And the Prophet ﷺ told us how to handle it if that happens. That's not the issue. The issue is for the person who are negligent, the people who are negligent about the salah. As he says, as-sahwa fi salah, yaqa min al-insan, wa yujbaru bi sujud as-sahwa. A mistake in the salah, everybody makes. A person might make a mistake in the salah, but they make the sujood at the end to fix it. لكن المصيبة في السهو عن الصلاة بالغفلة عنها. But the mushkila, the problem is the musiba, which is the major problem. The major problem is that a person is negligent when it comes to the prayer. They're negligent when it comes to the time of the salah, or when it comes to the conditions, facing the qibla, making the wudu, the intention, the clothing, are they covered? We live in a time where people walking around with, I ain't throwing rocks, but, tight jeans is like, what I'm saying? Tight jeans and small shirts for men. With an odor, they might pray, and some of the odor comes out. If you know you're Muslim and you know you got to pray, we're Muslim, we pray 5 times a day. If you come outside dressed, you need to be thinking about that. Can I pray like this? Eventually, you got to pray at some point. At some point throughout the day, we got to pray. Sometimes a brother goes into a court. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They are also the people who show off. They see people watching them, so they pray perfect. People not watching them, then they pray lazy and they don't give any ihtimam, any importance to the work and the pillars. وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ. Those people who are stingy. شِدَّةً مِنْ شِدَّةِ بُخْلِهِمْ يَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ. People that are stingy to the point where they don't even lend their neighbors the smallest things. They don't even want to lend their neighbor a bowl. They need a dish. And now one of these small things that a person is so stingy they don't want to share between people. Right? All of this is a warning against these behaviors that we ask Allah Jalla wa Ala to protect us from. We'll continue next week with Surah Al-Kawthar, number 108. Wa sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.